I didn't hear the beep. I didn't hear it. Yep, apparently it's broadcasting. So, hello everybody, welcome back to Milklord Games. I am coming at you with a deck profile given to me from my good friend Dontris. I believe that is how you pronounce it. It is his competitive Battlin Boxer deck. I made a few changes in how I would play the deck and how I would use the deck to, what I would feel comfortable with playing, but he plays his own way, and I'm going to show you the difference between my competitive build of what I would play in it in a similar manner as him, and I'll show you guys the comparison. So in this deck build, 2 Counterpunch, 3 Glassjaw, 3 Headgeared, because that is your main miller to get Glassjaw to the grave to recycle your plays, 3 Sparer, 3 Switch Hitter, and 2 Command Knight. Command Knight is a very good card because your opponent cannot attack this card for targets while you have other warrior type, while you have other monsters. Command Knight has a very good little bonus effect there, and it gives warrior type monsters a 400 point attack boost, which can really help them out. 2400, 400, that's not 1400, 1600, 1900. So it can make them a little bit of beat sticks, and if you have it on the field, at the same time as you have lead yoke, well, the lead yoke is 2600. So this has some really nice synergy with the deck, and it is fire type. So if you do, you actually could play Blaster here in this deck, because the fire type synergy of being able to pop and destroy stuff, which I actually did consider doing, because they are all fire. So I thought about the synergy there between those two. You have Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, 3 MST. He only plays MST at 2, which I kind of find in this current meta. There's a lot of important traps and stuff that you want to get rid of, and just have more MSTs. You have a better chance of getting rid of those. Rhoda, still both 3 in Solidarity. I thought this was a very good, interesting tech choice because pretty much most of what your graveyard is going to consist of is warrior types anyway. So Solidarity is good, very, very good in this style of deck, and they're both at 2. I have Bottomless Trap Hole. He has Fiendish Chain for his negation cards. I play Breakthrough because, I don't know, I just like Breakthrough a little bit more than Fiendish Chain, in my personal opinion. I love Breakthrough. I hate Fiendish. Fiendish isn't bad. It's good to stop attacks, but it can't be reused between the effects, and it can become stagnant on your field and not do anything for a while. So that can really become a little bit of a problem with that. 1 Compulse. He runs 1 Compulse. I run 2 Goes in Match. He runs 2 Goes in Match because Goes in Match is a very good card. I have 1 Mirror Force. He has 2. I feel like Mirror Force in this format isn't that great anymore, due to, like, if you're going to play in a competitive format, Mirror Force really is not that great. I mean, it can still get rid of Construct and Winda if they attack, or like if you get into like Kulfoth Tower, flip Mirror Force, that can do you some good. But other than that, as far as the main base goes, Mirror Force isn't that good. It's still good, but it's not that good. He plays it at 2. I play it at 1. Rivalry of Warlords, both at 2 in both versions of the decks. Rivalry is really good in this. Same with Gozen. Rivalry, though, against Rivalry and Gozen against Shadows, though, it can work well against Shadows because if they have Construct, they can't go for Winda. And most of the monsters are spellcasters, and I believe Construct is, what is Construct? And let's just make this easier. Let's just go Shadow. Construct is a fairy, as to where Wind is a spellcaster. So if you have Rivalry, they can make Winda, but they cannot make Construct. So if you have Gozen, they can only make Winda. If you play Gozen after Construct, then they can only make Construct, which makes the deck a little bit more difficult for them, and it makes it harder to, per se, get around. Solemn Warning, both builds. He doesn't feature Solemn. I found that actually quite interesting, but Solemn Warning is still just too good in this format. So I really think that Solemn Warning is a great, fantastic card to play. Torrential Tribute, always a fantastic card. He does not run Torrential. I prefer Torrential. He runs his deck at 41 cards, which can involve a little bit of inconsistency problems, but one card here and there difference, not too big of a thing. He runs 2 Swift Scarecrow and 2 Trap Stun. I would rather just play 3 Wiretap because Wiretap is broken, it is good, and it does get rid of those side counter things such as Macrocosmos that people like that Shadow players won't be playing macro, but you can use macro against Shadows and it will hurt them severely. So this is one of those things that you can really side in against them to make your matchup, just 10 times easier. For the side deck, I put in 2 Flying Sea for Burning Abyss. Mistake, because there are a lot of decks that search. This only has 3 search cards, so not really a big thing searching in this deck. So Mistake, just stops searching, and most competitive meta does search. Mirror, we have 3 non-fusion area just to completely shut down those Shadows. 3 Shadow Imprisoning Mirror to shut down Shadows. 3 Vanity's Emptiness to shut down Shadows and Burning Abyss because they can't summon. Burning Abyss also cannot trigger due to Shadow Imprisoning Mirror because they are darks. This card I actually found pretty interesting. Basically, Grave of the Super Ancient Organism. This is actually pretty good against Cliffort because pretty much everything that they're going to do is going to be special summon of level 6 or higher. They can't activate their effects or declare an attack. So this card is actually really good against Cliffort. A lot of people would probably disagree, but I think this is really good. Some people would say, Mask of Restrict. Well, they don't really tribute. They normal summon without tributing. That's their effect. That's what they do. So Grave of Super Ancient Organism does excellent and does very well against Cliffort. And that is my reason as to why this isn't here. He main decks this card. I side deck this card. Because main deck, you're not going to go up against a lot of things that do make level 6 or higher special summon monsters. So, and that is my thoughts on the card versus side decking and main decking it. He doesn't have a full extra deck. He plays nothing but Warriors. I decided to spice it up a little bit. Got Abyss Dweller, shuts down Shadows. Battlin Boxer, Lead Yoke. It's toughest monster that they make, strongest monster they make. Blade Armor Ninja is just good as in its own. Castell bounces a lot of shit. Daigusto Emerald, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Evil Swarm Exodonite, Gagaga Cowboy, Heroic Champion Excalibur, Heroic Champion Gondiva for those Satellar matchups, because you are going to see Satellar matchups quite a bit, and this card does shut down Satellars. When you are going to play Satellar, there's really not much that you actually can side against Satellar. I mean, Rivalry and Goes and Match doesn't really do anything to them. So that can be a bit of a problem, but that's when you just side in the 3 Vanity's Emptiness and Mistake, because they search a lot, they draw a lot, they do a lot of derpy things. So you just side in 3 Vanity, both of the Mistakes, throw out, Mirror Force, and throw those 5 in for these 5, and you've got yourself a side against Satellar. Which is pretty good. And I did actually think of the Satellar matchup when I was building this deck more competitively for that reason. Still got 101. Oh, and also if you make Gondiva just shreds them apart as well because they special summon a lot. So you just fucking wreck them with Gondiva. That's what it does. 101, Silent Owner Arc, number 1 of 3 Ragnar Zero, and Heartland Drago. Heartland Drago just because you can attack and because you do have Solidarity on the field. They can't attack it, so you can make a soft lock, which the soft lock is which can be pretty effective. But they MST Solidarity, your soft lock is gone, but that would be a waste of them to MST, because if you have this on the field and they kill it, it's going to go to the grave, and Solidarity is going to be useless anyway. So I don't understand why you would go ahead and do that. But this is a deck profile sent by Dontris. This is developed for the 2014 meta gameplay. It doesn't perform bad. It doesn't perform absolutely amazing, but it is competitive and it's pretty consistent. If you know how to play Battlin Boxers, you'll get along with this deck just fine. Main deck, because if you play this, you probably play this of a similar style build. I just threw in, some good fancy tech against the current meta, and it works well. Another thing that I thought of that you could do is macro with this, because macro doesn't really hurt this. You could side macro and defissure, because I mean the only thing that it does hurt really is like your glass jaw recycling stuff, but it doesn't completely burn and kill this deck. So I mean that could be a good side against shadows if you don't really want to go with the shadow imprisoning mirror and non-fusion area, which I still highly recommend. Because, I mean, but there are other things that are affected very likely by dimensional fissure and macro, like light sworns. Light sworns are still a deck. They're still a thing. Still not really meta, but the new light sworn dragons are pretty good. And if you play macro and defissure against them, it's pretty good for them too. Vanity and shadow imprisoning mirror versus them are good too. Flying Sea is really only good against Burning Abyss. So I mean, you could, just throw these out here, throw these on board, and then you can have yourself a side against practically everything you're going to really run into, because you have to remember that Lightsworn Dragon Rulers are pretty popular. A lot of people like them, and a lot of people play them. So in that respect, they are going to be seen a lot in the meta. You also have Sylvans. This can kill Sylvans as well. Vanity kills Sylvans. So there is a lot of side tech here for a lot of good, powerful, decks that really aren't necessarily meta, but this covers a very broad variety of the current meta of what you would see at a YCS tournament. And this deck is a pretty cheap deck to pick up and build. This is pretty much the closest thing to a budget deck. Well, one of the best budget decks you're going to get. I mean, the extra deck is going to be a little costly. Exciter 101, $61. They are going to be expensive, but this deck though is pretty good, pretty competitive. So I do gotta say, if you like Battle and Boxers, try out this build. Pretty good, pretty fun, pretty consistent, and honestly though, Dimensional Prison is also very good in this format. So if you really wanted to swap out Mirror Force for Dimensional Prison, be my guest. Prison probably better than Mirror Force right now as of this format due to Cliffort and Shadows being a big thing, and you don't want to let Shadows get their monsters into the grave. So you could do that if you'd rather play D Prison over that. But big announcement though, I will be playtesting Spirit Beasts and making Spirit Beasts even better and stronger than they already are. And I'm going to get help of the head administrator, Atomic Nightmare. He's not logged in to admin mode right now, but he is a head admin, and I know that a lot of players on DN know who he is and have seen him around. I'm going to hopefully get his help on Spirit Beast and be able to bring you a good Spirit Beast deck profile for you OCG players who like to play Spirit Beasts. Because I know this is for the TCG meta, but we haven't really gone over the OCG meta. I don't really know what OCG meta is right now, but I am looking forward to the release of the new Raid Raptors set. I really want to play them, really want to try them. And actually, DN actually did just post a new card, High Speed Roid Makindama. Very interesting synchro monster. I suggest you guys check that out. I'm sure a lot of you people already know what this does, but if you don't, go on to Dueling Network and check it out, or it's probably available on DevPro as well. So feel free to check them out, and I will catch you guys later. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, and just leave your thoughts about it. If you have any ideas or whatever, present them. Just post them in the comment section below, or PM them to me on Dueling Network.